And I should be recording now. I am. Hey, how's it going? I hope every one of you is doing great. And welcome to the first scene breakdown of the channel. Like I said in the introduction, I was going to record and upload this kind of videos when I do like this short breakdowns of how I did this scene and specific compositions or renders, whatever. So today we're going to do a small breakdown of this render that I actually got done today. Maybe I'm gonna upload this video a couple of weeks later, or maybe a couple days later. But basically, it's this render here. I'm also gonna be leaving it here in the screen. Sorry. And okay, I'm gonna try to go over everything that there is in the scene and kind of like explain it briefly so you guys can get an idea of how I did it. As you can see, it's a pretty simple scene. There's really not much like complex stuff here. You can pretty much just by looking at this like kind of figure out yourself how is everything working. The main idea for this render, I was playing Red Dead Redemption the other day, and that's one of my favorite games. And I just thought to myself, dude, I gotta do something related to this style, this Western cowboy, the Western genre. And also because the other day I was scrolling down on Pinterest and I found this image, and I just stared at it for a couple times and I said, wow, this is really cool. I gotta do something like this. So let's go over how everything works. To begin with, the main ground, it's actually pretty simple. As you can see here, it's I want to go through the idea of doing like some sort of desert, but I also want to give it a detail like there was some humidity on the weather. So the ground is basically a mix of two materials that I got on the package of Polyhaven. I think it was like a mix of asphalt and there's this wet mud. This thing, I think there was a combination between the number 3 and I think it was like one of these asphalt ones. I'm not really sure, but I got this with the Polyhaven add-on. You can pretty much get a ton of stuff here. Here I got HDRI's models. But you could do this with any kind of textures. You could go to textures.com, something like that, and you could get those. And also there's this thing. Oh, let me just fix this real quick. There's this thing. I don't know if you can like notice it right here, but there's this like water pools like here, like this pools in the mud. The way I did this once was actually I tried to get them manually with the shader editor, but they were looking pretty bad. So I got this thing on my add-ons. I think there's a free version of this one. It's called Bag of Rain Generator. It's basically an add-on to create rain, but the fun thing is it has a secondary option that's called Add Rain Shader. And basically when you add it to any kind of material, basically we get this animated shader that makes water density. It makes like a lot of pools, and it's also animated, so kind of like the water reacts when it hits the ground. Like I say, it's meant for rain, but when you actually add it, you can get, of course now it's not gonna work because I already had it, but when you add it, it has like really cool reflections, and it really gets the idea done really well. So like I said, you could get these pools manually, playing with the shader editor, just adding like a mouse grip texture or something like that. But having this, I kind of saved myself a lot of time, and also it's just like a little small part of the main ground that's close to the camera, because the rest of this you can really see it. The mountains of the background, this one's also pretty simple to get done. Blender has one pre-installed add-on called I think it's landscapes. Let me check it out. I think it's called landscapes. Yeah, this thing comes pre-installed with Blender, just like the No Wrangler. So you can just activate it, and the next time you're going to create a mesh, Shift A, you can go in mesh. You're gonna have a new one called landscape, and this thing has like a ton of presets. You can create your own presets, you can customize it your own, but I think I just went with something like mountain like this, and I just, you know, I upscale it, and you have this like the exact shape, and you know, maybe it's not exactly well modeled, but for stuff in the background just to create depth, it works really nice. So I just created one of this, duplicated it a couple of times, changed the scale, rotated it. I don't know if these ones are texturized. I don't think they are. No, they're not. No, let me check. Oh yeah, they have the same textures of the ground actually, but it doesn't really matter because you can't really see it at all. Now what's this big plane for? The original idea of the render, actually, that's kind of funny actually. The first render that I did, the idea was to get like a completely red sky. My idea was to get like a completely red ambient light and like red ambience. I don't know if you can call it like that, but I went with just like an image of a red sky, and I was gonna work with it. But after looking at it a couple of times, it just didn't feel, I don't know, this felt completely empty, and it's not bad, you know, but something, no, I don't know, it felt like something was missing. So I came up with the idea of making this plane into just a solid black color and make like a completely dark sky. And then I thought about making something like a moon or a sun, and that thing was going to be completely red, and it was going to be the main source of light. So this thing, it's just a plane with a black color. That's everything that it is. You could make this with a cube or a plane, whatever. And then for this thing that is kind of like the sun, if you can call it like that, basically it's just a regular sphere. And for the shaders, everything that it is, it's an emission with a pretty high strength of red color. And I also noticed that there's a big difference when the sphere is like right above the subject, and when just a little part of it's sticking out of this plane. So it makes like a really good like cast shadows over this part. So I kind of left it like that, and it looked pretty cool actually. It was really cool. And also, just to complement this thing, there is a area light also in color red, just shining behind this part of the mountains, and you know, just getting more of that shine. Because if actually there's really not a difference, but when I was creating the stuff, I kind of like noticed it looked a little bit different if I had that area light. But you could actually just work without it. Doesn't make like a real like noticeable difference. Now, what else for the character? This one's also really interesting. It's the first time that I'm trying to do something like this. The other day I was watching a tutorial by Max Hay. He was showing how to like integrate characters in your scenes without always using like 3D models and sophisticated stuff. So most of the times when I'm integrating like characters in my scenes, I always use models from Sketchfab, or I'm using this add-on called Procedural Crowds that has this option of individual humans, and you know, you can select like one of these models, and these ones already have animation, so that's really cool. But it doesn't work in all the cases, depending on the topic. Or for example, with this render, for the kind of theme that we're going, these characters weren't gonna cut it. And of course, me searching for the model of a horse and for a cowboy and modeling, posing, everything, that was going to take more time than I actually want to spend doing this. So when I found that tutorial, that was really interesting. And so basically what this is, it's I think it's like an image from Unsplash or something. It's from Unsplash or Pixabay, one of those. And it's just a transparent image. And so, well, it wasn't. Yeah, I took the image, I brought it to Photoshop, and I just, you know, turned it completely black to kind of like make a silhouette. And that's everything that it is. It's just a complete plane. And yeah, I just brought here images as planes and just, you know, just dropped it here in the main plane. And one thing that's really interesting is that even though this is an image, it costs shadows too, so that's really interesting, and that's really cool. But yeah, that's everything that it is. It's just an image. Now for the volumetrics, actually, that's another part I forgot about. Um, I used, you can see there's two like bounds here. There's this two cubes that you can see like bounds. I actually used this one. I think it's the one of these ones is the classical like the volume scatter, like you use always, you know, just volume scatter and use it. And the other one is this volume that it's from this item that I've been testing out last weeks. It's called Alt Tab Easy Fog 2. It's basically just a crazy amount of presets of fog, texturized fog, that you can use just directly, like import your scenes, and you can scale them, you can use them. It also has like these like PDVs. I'm not sure if you can animate them, but it's also really cool to have. But yeah, basically the volumetrics, this one's really quick too. It's just the principal volume scatter, and one of these presets from Alt Tab Easy Fog. Just I wanted to test them out and see how they worked, and they actually have like a pretty nice result, helping with the light and everything. Because if I take them out, you're gonna see how everything looks pretty different than how it should look. So yeah, the volumetrics is pretty much just the classic volume scatter that you can create just using the bounds and, you know, just adding the volume scatter. What's left? Oh, vegetation, right. So for the rest of elements here in the render, we have grass, and we have this rest of stuff that makes, you know, that kind of desert ambience. So for the grass, it's basically a short plane that I placed under the main plane, and it's really just close to the camera, so the camera can have like this grass near the focal point, but it's not scattered all across the main plane. And I usually hide this when I'm working on the viewport because it really takes a lot of resources. And apart from the grass, I'm sorry, we also have, well, like this thing, the rest of the desert stuff that you can see here in the background that works pretty well. And this is also a separated plane apart and not scattered in the main one. And I got this, you could get these ones from models on Sketchfab or free models and just scatter them. I used Botanic, that it's really easy to use, and it's really helpful to have all this how to call it, like this environment set. Like you just go here to scatter, and you have like this amount of presets that you can just use and just scatter instantly. So I use this one on Miscellaneous, and it's the Sonoran Desert, and that's how I made most of the vegetation with. For the compositing, I ended up using the compositing of Photoshop, but on Blender I used this add-on called Compositor Pro that has a lot of stuff that you can tweak and use. But that's basically everything behind the scene, everything that got into this final result. And for the camera animation, from the animation that you saw at the beginning, well, there's nothing really complex about it. I mean, there's just this camera, two keyframes, one here and one at the end, and the camera just like traveling into the plane of the subject. And then I just got into the timeline and added a what's called a noise modifier, so we can get like this this look of a handheld locomotion of the camera. But yeah, this is pretty much everything for the scene breakdown. As you can see, everything it's really simple the way that it's created, and that's kind of like the idea that I want to share, because most of the time, I don't know if I'm the only one, but most of the time when I'm, you know, just looking tutorials on or scrolling down on Instagram, I always kind of like make my own conclusions of my head on how this scene of this thing was done or created. And then it's really funny to see a scene breakdown and kind of like seeing how easy and simple everything else is, how the process of creation was. So that was kind of the intention, also to kind of like show you guys how simple this actually is. Like this is nothing. It's really simple to create. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all of it. If you guys have like any doubt, any tip, any advice, any feedback, It would be really nice if you could guys just leave it on the comments. And I think the next time I'm getting done with something or working on something, I'll bring it here, so we can do another, scene breakdown or something, maybe a tutorial. I don't know, I'm not really sure. But yeah, I think this is pretty much all of it. So you guys take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.